4, 3.
Hey guys,
2,
Brave here.
1.
Back at it with a plus 12 City of Threads. This will be the last 12 in the making of these videos.
The true lesson of the void.
Let me know if you want me to do other videos like this. Otherwise, I don't know if I'll keep continuing this type of series. I might just try and do push keys with less, guide documentary. Here I didn't ask my team if I had engineering, so I just went to the statue. If you have engineering or rogue or priest, they can all activate that totem or whatever statue, gives you a good buff. But you do the standard double pull here. I like to just heroic throw those little beetles, and the big beetle will social into you. And then I normally just hit him with an avatar thunderclap, which should be good for aggro. As you can see, we lost our mage because our death knight didn't interrupt one thing this entire time. And so it's pretty important that you're interrupting the casters in all of these packs, as they'll just kill you. If you have a caster plus one of these stinging swarms on you, it's likely death. So here I'm looking to see where this big beetle's patent, and as long as he's not right next to the group on the right there, I go ahead and try and pull him. He doesn't really do too much, so you can just leave him right here. If you have someone that does the statues, after this is getting like really low, I'd drag him to the statue. You'd hit the statue while you're still finishing it, and then you can go ahead and then do the next pull with the statue buff, and it really helps speed up this next pull. Now you can see here I'm marking all of my teammates because I don't want to forget about it when I get to the boss, and I think it's just really good here for this first boss because everyone has to move around, and the orbs will shoot out, and sometimes it's easy to lose players behind the boss, etc. If you have like a marker on them, I find it actually makes the key go a lot better. I don't think I've actually wiped to the first boss since I've started marking players. And so here on this next pull, obviously you gotta get the interrupts out. I like the shield charge. As a tank, you actually don't need to interrupt any of the first ones because they don't do enough damage to kill you or really hurt you. And so it's just as simple as getting the interrupts. Here I'm looking at interrupts, and it's not very good. Past this, there's not really much you have to interrupt, so it's not as big of a deal. Just in the first few mobs, you've really got to get your interrupts on point. So on this pull, I'm going to leap in, I'm going to target the caster, I'm going to get the first interrupt. Well, my mage does, but I always like to get the first interrupt there. Then I'm going to tag the other mobs, and when you're starting pulling this pull, I always like to use a shield wall early on, just because you have stuff hitting your back while you're trying to gather stuff. Other than that, you just want to make sure you're getting the interrupts on the herald and dodging the balls. And then that's it for this one. Focus down the herald as fast as possible. So this next boss, you gotta make sure your healer drinks to enough mana. I always let them get full until they say they're ready, as they start in combat, so they don't get to have any extra drinks. And this can be kind of a tough healer fight. Now as tanks, the subjugate is what you really gotta be looking for, and dodging the balls. Here I have quickly move. Dodge balls. Easy peasy. Now I try and always ping which direction I'm gonna go. And then I'm gonna just walk pretty much directly to where I'm going. Got the big slam, so I'm gonna hit the shield wall. Here I'm just making sure I have max ignore pain up. Got the demo shout beforehand, so didn't need to use anything extra. I'm always just looking to have max ignore pain whenever the subjugates are coming out. Once again, I'm dodging the orbs here, and then I'm looking to move as soon as I can. Here at Ping and Theme where we're going. Once the boss starts moving, I'm just gonna drag him along. I don't stop at all. Subjugate came up. Had the max ignore pain, didn't do too much damage, easy peasy. Now with this subjugate, you can see I don't have max ignore pain, and I should have used shield wall. I could have died and we could have wiped the key here. But luckily, I didn't quite get one shot. Them subjugates are no joke. So you always want to make sure you have your active mitigation up as a tank, especially when there's tank busters coming out. And if you don't, that's the time when you really got to be careful and use a big defensive. On this pull I get aggro on the first guy, and then I'm going to go ahead and target this mob here. He's always going to be the first spy, so I just go ahead and pull him with this mob. And then you just kind of get to cleave him down for free. So to find the second spy, if it faces towards the circle or the inside of the house, it's always to the left and behind the house. And if it faces towards the left over here, it's always inside the house. And then there's one more spawn, and it's just to the right of here. And that's an easy one to find. With this pack, you kind of want to be careful with the void rushes plus the knife throws. As a tank, you can intervene the knife throws and they'll go to you. You have to be very quick about it though, and it's kind of difficult. But you can also reflect the void rush and it won't leave the damage over time on you. It's probably more important as like a DPS warrior than as a tank, but it's actually a deflect. It doesn't go back and do damage to the mobs at all. It just doesn't do more damage to you.
Another spy has fallen. This cannot be.
So I always check to see if the spy is here first, and which it is very lucky. And then the other two spawns are all the way in the back, and they're next to each other, and those aren't very hard to find. And again, you just want to get interrupts on this caster mob, and this pack's pretty easy. The ones with the knife throws are more scary, especially at higher levels, and you'll need to be paying attention to the void rush plus the knife throws, and making sure you get stops on the knife throws.
If this distressing trend continues, we will run out of spies.
With his last spy, it's typically in the back, but sometimes it can be in the house, and then I find that rarely it's over here. You always just come down the stairs there, and if it's over here, you'll be able to find it easier. For this pack, you got a caster and knife throwers, and you gotta be pretty careful. You don't want to have anyone die here, because you'll lose a whole bunch of time. The mage got void rush, so I just intervened him because he got low. Healer might have to use a little cooldowns here. DPS should use your cooldowns. It's the biggest pack out of any of them, so. And you have time to recoup your cooldowns before the next boss because of all the RP. So it's good to send your cooldowns here. Ideally, you have someone go start the RP, that way you don't lose any time, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. It's like 10 extra seconds you could gain.
Target is the Grand Splicer, ISO.
Once you start the RP, you just go up the stairs and get ready for the next boss.
Answering thirst for ascension. Stay close and be quiet. The Transformatory was once the home of our sacred evolution. ISO has made a mockery of our traditions. At the Queen's tisk, tisk, tisk. Dear Nizrek, a traitor. Our Queen will be so disappointed.
First, your little pets will die. Then we'll make you stink.
So the first boss, we gotta bring NX to VX, and they swap every other intermission. One of them just gonna stand still no matter what, and you just need to bring the one that moves around to the other one so you get cleave damage because they share a health pool. Now with these knife throws, as a prot warrior you can be looking. I try and always intervene the last knife throw, but it's kind of hard. You have to be really quick about it. And then it's important on these lines that you all stack up facing the wall, and like where I'm positioned. If you're in between the wall and the boss, there'll be something like this where they stay together, and it really saves a bunch of damage. I mean, it's really important. Like it's a huge DPS increase because they're not going to fly around the arena. They're going to stand still, stay grouped up. It's just really important that the whole group does that. Because the lines individually target someone, and it's just important. With this tank buster, I always use my shield wall and my spell block, and I don't really take that much damage from it. You can line up Demo Shot for it, you can line up Spell Reflect for it and get more damage reduction. Not a big deal. Again, you always want to face in between the wall. I'm trying to ping myself so that the team understands what to do, but can't always help everyone out. Here you just want to make sure they're on top of each other. And then they're going to do the frontals. Just gotta dodge frontals, keeping the bosses near each other. I could be doing better with my intervenes here. It's just hard to try and intervene someone within like 1 second of reaction time. A rebuff for our shaman, he's in there, so he needs the buff. Again, I got the spell block up, shield wall up. I don't take much damage at all. And if you do manage to get low here, it's important that you use your last stand to heal yourself. Keeping the bosses as stacked as possible, trying to finish before we get another icicle phase, because I think we'll wipe if we get another icicle phase. The bosses will die though. If we had stacked better, we would have had a faster kill. But, I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Would that I could do more to repay you, but this is as far as I go.
These next pulls are the really scary pulls for tank. I double these with this pack. They're hitting my back a little bit. I hit a shield wall. With the demo shot up. Just doing what I can to keep my ignore pain up pretty much. Really trying to spam my ignore pain as best as possible. Shield charge one of them. You can see I'm really struggling to keep the ignore pain up. These mobs hit really hard. They stack up that debuff, and at a certain point you'll need to just run away like I am here. You gotta let that debuff fall off. Now I can see we're finishing up these mobs. I'm just gonna drag the healthy guy into the next pack and cleave it down. Try and save some time. I'm gonna use my shield wall right off the bat. Taking a lot of damage here. Just keeping my ignore pains up as best as possible. Trying to watch my HP. Once my shield wall falls, I know I'm gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Stunning where I can, and a little bit in trouble there. I'll go ahead and send the last stand. Now with this next pack, I know I don't have my proc, so we're a little bit scared. I tell my healer that he needs to be careful with me here. And so he got aggro right off the rip, which was a little bit unfortunate. I thought it would be really bad here, but we wind up getting the battle res on him really quick, which was huge for me. Got my cooldowns rolling. I got really low. He lay on hands me, and I'm gonna run down the stairs. If I die here, we wipe and we lose the key. So don't be afraid to kite these mobs as a tank. I charge back in and they about kill me again, so I'm gonna walk away. Just trying to do what I can to keep aggro. Charge back in, kiting them back through the other way. Got the slows, the frost mage slow is huge here. Getting them kited, getting them down. Once this pack withers out, I'm gonna go ahead and drag into the next. No point in doing 20 million damage to one dude when you can cleave it. He's Hodge, so I'm just standing here. But if you can drag those in, it's best to just drag them into this. Now, this mob in particular, it's a little bit spooky for healer. This is a big healer mob. If you have any way to remove your own poison, it really helps healers out here. Obviously, you gotta watch your feet. As a tank, you really don't need to worry about nothing for your own sake. You mainly want to focus on helping your allies here. At the end of this pull, you want to go ahead and make sure if you have poisons out to let people get healed up. As a tank, I'm tough, so I'm going to go ahead and start the next pull. I got my impending victory up. I got a whole bunch of cooldowns I can use, I'm not really worried about it. Gotta make sure those don't get interrupted into me once they get knocked into me. I got aggro for sure. I'm gonna go ahead, walk down the stairs. I'm just gonna tag one of these little slimes. It's gonna trigger the whole group. The whole group's gonna path up the stairs. And then we'll be able to get onto the boss much quicker than if we killed all of this and then went into the room. I would suggest pulling those little slimes every time. Yep, every time.
Failure breeds success eventually. Wouldn't you agree? Let's see which of the two.
So this boss, it's a little scary. Go ahead and hit a shield charge off the rip, get that on cooldown, get my shield blocks up, get the ignore pain up. He's gonna do it. You know, I always use shield wall for the first tank buster just because. You may as well. He does his vicious darkness. I'm getting my ignore pains up. I'm gonna try and eat as many balls as possible. I use my impending victory when I have the anti-heal on me. The absorb heal. Then I'm gonna try and keep him fairly close to this other pool, but not overlapping it. I get low on my proc, so I'm a little scared, but not too scared. Again, I'm trying to eat all the balls in the pulsing darkness area. As you can see, I just used my shield block, I used my spell block, and I don't really take any damage from it at all. With this next tank buster, I actually have my spell block up still, so I don't take much damage from it. The spell block is a huge cooldown for tank busters for Prot Warrior. But this fight's pretty basic. It's rinse repeat. For the second soak, you mostly want to have people that have immunities, or the tank eat as many balls as possible during that void pulsing. Because if you don't have people that have immunities, or the tank, they're gonna die. It's just no way around it. It's just too much. The healer's doing like 1.2 million HPS this whole fight. It's just really important that you have people with immunities for this fight. We put the A and the Z down. I've eaten most of the orbs. I got a little low. I'm going to go ahead and choose to hit my last stand here. Just get myself back up for this tank buster. Got more orbs coming out. I'm going to go ahead and eat as many again. Our mage died, so that's not great. Realistically, the DPS check is kind of 2 AoE pulses. And you want to beat 2 AoE pulses. You really won't have another second set of immunities than as a tank. The spell block will be back up, I think, so the AoE pulse really isn't that scary for the tank. It's mostly if you're low, because the tank buster comes right after that. You can wind up dying. But you definitely don't want your DPS eating any of the balls during the second set. Unless they can obviously immune it or they're just sacrificing themselves. I'm gonna wait for our team to get the res out.
Messy, but worthwhile in the end.
I go ahead and get aggro on all these mobs here. Now I walk into this room to start the RP. That way those mobs will turn into the big guys we gotta kill. It's always important to start the RP if you can start it as soon as you can. Now with this next guy, I instruct my team to LOS, and then I tag the mob, and we're just going to stand right here around the wall. You can also just go ahead and interrupt that first cast, but for some reason, sometimes people will accidentally tag the scarab in the back, and that will wipe you like 90% of it's just too much damage, just a wipe. Now with this mob, when he does his Umbral Weave, as a tank I position myself behind him, so that way he runs backwards into my team and we don't lose any downtime on the DPS. As you can see, I position myself in a way where he runs into our team, not away from my team. And then obviously you're just getting interrupts. It's an easy mob. So here I need 2 of these Umbral guys for my 100% of my route. I go ahead and tag those in. They'll walk in, I get an interrupt on one of them. I find that it's not really hard to cleave with this big guy. They don't really do anything besides the one, like you have to get an interrupt on them and that's it. Really easy mobs. It's an easy double. Obviously whenever he does the ads you need to get aggro as soon as possible, because if one of those ads melee one of your DPS while this dot's going off, they'll probably end up dying. Like pretty much all cooldowns need to be sent here. This is a crazy tough pull. Especially at higher key levels, it's just tough. The healing's crazy. DPS have to do defensives right. As a tank, you just have to grab their ads. At Prot Warrior, I wish I could do more to help my allies. Can't really do too much for them. I wind up losing a guy. It kind of sucks losing a guy on this, but it is what it is. Luckily, we have someone else that can res, so our healer can drink afterwards. I'm just trying to execute down the mob. Don't want him to summon more ads. He does a Tremor Slam, luckily, finish up the ads in a good time. We get the res. Man, healer's drinking up. We'll be ready for the boss. We got lust up for this boss, and so I rebuff our shaman. Heroic throw him, hit them. Shield charge in, keep my ignore pain up. Now whenever he does Splice, I'm going to use Spell Reflect every single time. The only time I'm ever using Spell Reflect this fight is with Splice. And then what I like to do, which I find is really good, I tell everyone to group up with me. We stack up, and with the balls I just do a little circle rotation, just like I'm doing. Just strafe just to the left here. Pretty easy. Again, Splice, I got the reflect up you can actually reflect this, it does damage. Very useful tool. We get a little spread out there, the balls. I'm going to move into the boss. I really want to make sure I get aggro on all these little ads. And again, just kind of strafing around, taunting the one back there, making sure I get aggro on the ads. Process of elimination, I jump out, I use my spell block, I use shield wall, I take 0 damage. That's the only time a tank needs to use defensives this fight, is on the process of elimination. You can reflect every splice, you don't take any damage. Again, I reset the boss, position wise, and we're strafing just towards the left every time. You want to dodge the little ad spawning, because I think it does a little bit of damage. Moving up a little bit to try and get aggro on the ads first, so they don't hit my teammates. Splices up, hit the reflect. Saving my avatar for the Umbral Weave here. Here it comes. We're grouped up. Add the avatar, hit the avatar, it cleanses roots. I'm doing AoE damage as well. And then we're just strafing, trying to avoid balls. Process of elimination's up. Again, I shield wall, hit the ignore pains, take almost no damage at all. Here I move the boss line a little bit for the orbs. Got the splice, hit the reflect. I'm going to move to the left with the boss. And see how easy that is. If you move as a group, the balls always go from all in the same direction, and it's just so much easier. Get the ads, moving the boss a little bit more aggressive. And we're going to get the kill here. Easy peasy. I'm just using my executes. That's plus 12 City of Threads, guys. Feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, it sure helps. Let me know what I could do different or better, I don't really mind. If you'd like to see more videos like this, let me know. Thanks for watching the video, guys. See you next time.